Cobra Commander, one of the 80s greatest villains, gets his own series, and it's awesome. What's up everyone, James here, and the Energon Universe's newest evil is here. Make sure to hit that like button if you're excited to see Cobra's rise. Okay, so the story opens up with Cobra Commander in this Arctic region, entering a remote rest stop and pub called No Man's Land. A couple of things that are cool here. First, Cobra Commander is wearing an outfit similar to the old snake disguise he wore in his unofficial appearance in the Transformers episode Only Human. Kind of a weird episode, some of the Transformers became humans, but old Snake was awesome. The second thing is this opens up kind of like the Terminator. Cobra Commander tells the bartender he needs a vehicle and asks if he could help with that. One of the bar patrons named Jimmy approaches, asking how he'd get here without one, and makes fun of his lisp. When this patron leaves, Cobra Commander follows and tells him his vehicle will do nicely. Notice Jimmy's vehicle has the colors of a HISS tank. Jimmy responds asking Commander what he means by that, and asks about the weapon that the Commander's carrying that he describes as a toy. Cobra Commander just kills him right on the spot. When the bartender chases down Jimmy for his bar tab, all he finds is Jimmy's truck gone and his bloody body with the Cobra symbol drawn next to it. This issue literally opens with a bang and I love it. From here we go to a flashback, taking us to the kingdom of Cobra-La. But before we go any further into the issue, we will go on a deep dive into Cobra-La because I think most people are not familiar with them. However, if you don't care, feel free to use the chapters below to skip this portion of the video. So Cobra-La is an ancient civilization and secret society hidden away in the Himalayas that prides itself on using organic technology. Fun fact, they're named after James Hilton's Shangri-La, which is featured in his novel Lost Horizon, also hidden away in the Himalayas. Cobra-La remains an interesting concept that divides some G.I. Joe fans till this very day. Because initially the war between G.I. Joe and Cobra offered a somewhat realistic world with an entire host of already awesome characters. But when a third party like Cobra-La was introduced in the G.I. Joe animated movie, it made it very unrealistic to some fans and didn't fit in the world for them. They often act like they don't exist. Also, there is a portion of the fandom that didn't like the fact that Cobra Commander's Cobra was just a front for Cobra-La. I don't share those feelings, but I understand it all. Hell, even the master and commander of all things G.I. Joe, writer Larry Hama, refused to put Cobra-La in his Marvel G.I. Joe run because he thought Cobra-La consisted of just silly characters that Hasbro was trying to force on him. I'm unsure if that changed in his IDW run. Feel free to let me know in the comments below. It's because of that Cobra-La didn't make their comic debut until Dreamwave and Devil Deuce Publishing G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers crossover. Right now we're covering the third series on the channel. We'll get to the final series, Black Horizon, where they made their full comic book debut soon. I'll have a link to the playlist of the crossover series in a pinned comment below. When it comes to the characters of Cobra-La, there are only three that matter. First is Nemesis Enforcer, commander of the Royal Guards, Pythona the Assassin, and the Serpent King of Cobra-La, Globulus. We'll see two of the three in this issue. Now returning to the issue, in this flashback, we see a huge angry mob throwing explosives at this building, which turns out to be Cobra-La's science building. They're pissed because information about some monstrosity they brought into the city has leaked to the citizens. The scientists are scared because it's a huge mob, they're not fighters, and if the mob breaches the building, they'll see they've been experimenting with tech that isn't organic. When one of the scientists tries to order a retreat, he immediately gets shot in the head. Like bang, he's done. He was shot by Cobra Commander. He fires at this scientist's body again and tells the other scientists not to retreat and instead fight to protect their research. He rallies the scientists and hands them these spores to use against the mob. He orders the doors to be opened and the mob charges right in. Cobra Commander throws this spore that explodes on the mob, burning them. This female scientist here then asks the commander if she should also throw her spore. Cobra Commander replies, "You fool." The spore explodes right in the commander's face and ignites all the other spores within the science building, creating this massive explosion. Sometime later, we see Cobra Commander survive the explosion and is being healed by these Cobra-La doctors, I guess. But his body is heavily scarred. This would explain why he spoke with a lisp earlier, and partly why he wears a helmet. What I find interesting is the doctors use this three-headed snake to bite his body. It could be that the snake's bite has this healing effect, or this is Joshua Williamson setting up early on Cobra Commander turning into a snake in the future, like in the G.I. Joe animated movie. We'll have to wait and see. As Cobra Commander is recovering, he sees a metal helmet by his bedside. Pythona approaches and tells him to put it on so he can hide his shame. I like this a lot because besides covering up his heavily scarred face, it gives another reason as to why Cobra Commander always wears his helmet. He's following Cobra-La's way of life, like Mando follows his Mandalorian clan's way of life in The Mandalorian. It's pretty cool. Sometime later, Cobra Commander is brought before Lord Globulus, the Serpent King, who says, "I found you lost in the outside world, searching for meaning. I brought you to Cobra-La and gave you a purpose." This lets us know right off the bat that Cobra Commander is a human who lived in the outside world before joining Cobra-La. I have to say the image of Globulus's throne room looks awesome. He is angry with Cobra Commander since he is to blame for the riot, because as he explains, the commander has sacrificed the lives of science officers to harvest and interrogate the monstrosity that's in the compound, and has used its tech. These and other atrocities done in the science compound have leaked to the Cobra-La citizens, and they're pissed someone would go against their ways, which is to only worship organic life and use organic technology. However, Cobra Commander argues what he's been able to accomplish with the specimen warrants respect and promotion into a leadership position within Cobra-La. Globulus accuses Cobra Commander of instigating the riots, which he doesn't deny. He then reveals to the commander he only healed him so he could watch him die. Suddenly, his royal guard emerges from the shadows, ready to execute Cobra Commander. But he is no slouch. He quickly maneuvers and dodges their attacks. This is very impressive since these are presumably elite fighters. Cobra Commander says, "I am not much of a fighter, my lord. I prefer to let others do the fighting for me." He takes out these small beetle-like robots and unleashes them on the Royal Guard, and they have no chance. They act like the scarabs in the movie The Mummy, if you guys seen that, where they're eating through the Royal Guard's flesh and entering their bodies. Cobra Commander explains to Globulus that his usual tactics of fear and hate won't be enough anymore to keep the citizens in line, because Cobra-La is a powder keg that could explode at any moment into a civil war, since their resources are dwindling. He admits his ways are underhanded, but his tech will strengthen Cobra-La, and this is just a taste of what is possible. At that moment, the robot beetles explode out of the Royal Guard's bodies, and it's just a straight up bloodbath. Cobra Commander then says to Globulus that you must trust me to further your control of the world. I will prove my loyalty to you and Cobra-La, but you must give me a new title and let me leave on a special mission to the outside world. My fate and the fate of Cobra-La is in your hands now. From here, the issue jumps to Cobra Commander entering the science compound. We don't see what was Globulus's response to him, and I feel like that will be something that might be revealed later, but as we see, the commander is still alive, so Globulus let him live and approved his mission. One of the things I want to point out that Cobra Commander said to Globulus that was quite the revelation is Cobra-La's resources are dwindling. Notice that has been a reoccurring theme in this Energon Universe so far. It's in Void Rivals, Transformers, and G.I. Joe. Now, Cobra Commander has returned to the science compound to check on his specimen. His monstrosity that we've heard about throughout this entire issue turns out to be the mighty Megatron, who's been reduced to a science experiment. So if you saw my Transformers issue 4 video, at the very end of the video, we saw Megatron's body embedded in ice. So it seems like Cobra-La discovered him at some point, and has been experimenting on him ever since. So this confirms one of my theories I mentioned last year, that the Energon Universe could go the route of Dreamwave and Double Deuce publishing G.I. Joe vs. the Transformers series, where in that series, Cobra discovered the Transformers in the Ark, they took control of them, used their tech to create their own weapons, and all of that brought about the rise of Cobra. Now, Cobra Commander speaks to Megatron and admits he's devoutly loyal to Cobra-La, and reported every new finding he made while experimenting on him. Except, he never reported Megatron's memories that he was able to piece together that revealed an entire galaxy of possibilities, with more advanced technology than Cobra-La. Now, if everything evil Cobra Commander has done in this issue so far hasn't convinced you how truly evil he is, we get more, because Cobra Commander says to Megatron that the other scientists thought they could get to know you and hoped you would come forward with your secrets willingly, but I figured out a way to rip it from your very soul. He activates this machine that either electrocutes or extracts Energon from Megatron. This is where the Commander messes up, because he tells Megatron that he has found other energy signatures similar to him in the outside world. He will track them down and learn about the energy that fuels them. He goes on to say it does not merely power, it is transformative. Once I unlock its secrets, Globulus will have his army that I will lead, and no force in Cobra-La or in any world will be able to stop us. Once Cobra Commander leaves, Megatron smiles. This is why I say Cobra Commander messed up, because he revealed to Megatron that the other Transformers have awakened and are roaming free. How this will help him with his escape, I don't know, but I bet you it will play a role. Returning to the present day, Cobra Commander casually watches this sunset after murdering a guy and taking his vehicle. You know, psychopaths like a good sunset. In all seriousness though, I think he was honestly enjoying this because he probably hasn't seen a sunset since joining Cobra-La. He gets confronted by his bodyguard / handler that Globulus ordered to keep an eye on him during his mission, who tells him wandering off, killing a human, and now stopping here for no reason are waste of time, that he needs to stay within his sight and keep moving. Cobra Commander quickly dismisses him and reminds him he is only here because Globulus insisted on it. We don't get his bodyguard's name, Cobra Commander just calls him a grunt. As they drive to their next location, the grunt suggests to the commander he take on a disguise that draws less attention. Cobra Commander responds, I want the attention. I want the imbeciles to reveal themselves to me as we make our way through their world. We have a long journey ahead of us, and by the time we are done, this world will fear the name of Cobra Commander. The next location they're headed to is Florida, where the commander will come face to face with the Dreadnoks. That's the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. If you want to catch up on the entire Energon universe, check out my Energon timeline playlist I recently created right here. Other than that, have an awesome day, and always remember every day to transform and go beyond. Hey, if you want to join the upper echelons of the Beyonders, where you'll receive an array of member-only benefits, consider becoming a Beyonder Knight by becoming a YouTube channel member or by joining the Patreon like Patreon members Justin Heverly, Ray Dude, and Drag Logia 5. A massive thank you to you all. Links in the pinned comment below. See you later, Beyonders.